If mealtime feels like a power struggle between you and your little ones, we get it. Picky eaters bring on their own set of challenges. So today's Studio 5 health contributor, Mickey Eberhardt, is here to share advice to make mealtime more peaceful at the table. Let's have more peace.
Right?
Yes.
I recently read this study, Brooke, done in the UK. They surveyed 2,000 parents that had kids that were ages 2 to 10.
Okay.
And on average, they had 6 arguments a day.
Yeah.
Most were about food.
I believe it.
So I'm here for tips.
Yeah.
To minimize the arguments about food.
Yeah, there is I think a mom badge of honor if you have a kid who will eat everything. And that's kind of the first entry point in this conversation is don't tie yourself to your child's food decisions.
It's so true. Like, if you have an adventurous eater, you kind of want to do this like,
yeah,
look at what they're eating,
right?
And for the mom that their kid is only choosing chicken nuggets, that can feel like, what did I do wrong? And the reality is I have seen both types of eaters, adventurous and very picky, in the same household with the same thing happening for all children. And so the reality is we don't need to stress about this. When we're stressed, we pass it on to our kids, and the eating experience does not become inviting.
You told our producer that your pediatrician once gave you some advice that really stuck with your mom heart.
I had the best pediatrician for 15 years, and he was one of those that taught other pediatricians how to be pediatricians.
I love it.
He knew I was a dietitian, so all of those well-checked visits, we had lots of conversations about childhood nutrition, and I could boil it down to a consistent thread he always said, which was the opportunity that mealtime provides is for connection and bonding. When we let that opportunity go and let it get hijacked by a power struggle with the food, we lose. And the reality is, he would always say this, kids will eat when they're hungry, leave them alone.
My pediatrician said that too, and it was such a relief to my mom ears.
Me too. When I was a young mom and I kind of had some scrawny kids, it was like, you got to eat more. You got to eat more.
Please. Yeah.
We don't have to do that.
And make it about connection.
Yes.
Make it about connection.
So if anybody felt like they needed like a permission slip from the dietitian to say like, don't stress about the number of bites going in, there it is for everybody.
There it is. Additional advice to maybe make it go a little bit better or a little bit more smoothly. First, manage your expectations.
Yeah, so this one, a successful eating experience is not how many bites went in or how many green foods were selected.
So you don't want us counting bites. Take 3 bites and then you can have dessert.
Here's what I want the expectation to be that I think everybody can manage, which is we want the child to happily sit at the table, engage in conversation, choose something that is offered, and leave when they're satisfied. That is a successful eating experience, and you can build on that.
What if I know, and maybe I'm jumping ahead here, but what if I know, Mickey, that if they sit at the table, they choose what they want, and they leave when they want, they're going to be hungry in 20 minutes?
Yeah, so that is something that we can get to, but part of it is you saying, this is what we're going to have. No more food is going to be offered until lunch, until snack, until bed, until after school. So if you're saying your tummy's good now, this is all that's here.
Okay, we make them
we go for it.
All right, what you just described is a super relaxing atmosphere, right? It's a super kind of chill, laid-back kitchen vibe.
Yeah, we want that relaxed experience. And the reality is, ideally it's at a table. Sometimes that happens in my car, right? When we're going to and from. So what we want to have is minimize distractions overall. That is the important thing. So if it is at home, turning off the TV, putting phones away, and allowing the child to kind of interact and recognize food, taste, texture, smell, and when they're satisfied. This is especially important if you have a picky eater that may be a slow eater. And if we're like, hurry, we gotta go, that relaxed atmosphere is gone, and that stress is not gonna have them eat faster.
And the power struggle
So if I need to have that plate ready to hop in the car and keep eating as we go somewhere else, let's do that, but try and keep it a relaxed environment.
You're a fan of family style.
Yes, kind of a buffet of sorts, right? Like deconstructing meals into pieces, because that allows your child to choose more things that they would likely eat. Sometimes when it's all put together, that can be overwhelming and the control leaves them. And maybe if there's that green thing mixed in with those noodles, I don't want it. But the noodles by themselves are okay, and we can play with that.
That brings up a question I have. Do I cater, Mickey, to a certain palate or preference? We joke about not wanting to be the sous chef, not wanting mom to be a chef in the kitchen, but as I'm planning these meals, am I keeping in mind every child and trying to provide something they'll eat?
So it's important to have at least one food you know they'll eat. And the reason for that is it provides a safety for the child. They're going to be more comfortable when they have an eye on something like, okay, I've got something there.
I can do that.
if everything is unfamiliar, especially to a picky eater, that is overwhelming and can even be a scary feeling. And then if you have mom harping at you, eat that bite. It's not a good experience, and they're not going to try it. So being willing to offer one thing, I know that they'll eat at least this. And then throwing in some new things with it.
We recently had an extended family dinner, and we were trying to cater over a group text to a million different, preferences. And finally I was like, the kids like rolls, right? I mean, you can feel okay about that. If all they have to eat is a roll for that particular meal, they're going to survive.
Exactly.
Talk to me about this idea of the communication. As I'm trying to encourage my child to make healthy choices or encourage them to fill their bellies, how can I do that in a positive way?
Yeah, so in this one, I love this spin, because instead of demanding that you eat 2 more bites, we ask and we put a little more control back on them. Okay. What we do know is that threats and demands, they may eventually work, right? You're not leaving the table until there's 3 more bites. But the opportunity for that connection and bonding has vanished when the threats come out.
I love that you've given us that guiding golden rule. Opportunity for connection.
So when we ask, then it falls back on your kid, and they all of a sudden have some control again. So one question I love to ask is this: how can I make this food easier for you to eat? And a spin on that would be, what could I do to make this yummier for you? And if you have little kids, you may need to offer some tips, like, do you want to dip that in something? Could I sprinkle some cheese on it? Do you want me to separate it so they're not touching?
Ranch is a good gateway
Ketchup,
at our house.
Yes, all of those things. Even like, is it too cold? Do you want me to warm it up? Those kinds of things can all of a sudden make the kid go, yeah, I think that would make it yummier.
That would do it. A few other catchphrases you like. You don't have to eat it.
You don't have to eat it, especially if this is something where they didn't have any say in what went on their plate. If you're at some kind of gathering and here's your food, that can be really stressful for a picky eater. And so being willing to say, it's okay, you don't have to eat it. Offering that this is all that we're going to have for the next little bit. But you don't have to eat it.
Would you like to serve yourself tonight? Is another question you recommend.
That family style. So sometimes, again, if you have someone that doesn't like to be told what to do, having them serve themselves. Now, if you see them only putting rolls on the plate, then that's where I love this idea of let's make a tester plate. If everything you know is not really familiar for that child,
great idea.
Just get a separate plate, put a little taste of everything else on there, offer a napkin, put it in your mouth, try it. If you don't like it, spit it out. Okay, and it's safe.
The separate plate is genius, because I often do smaller portions for that reason. Like, try it out. One no thank you bite is kind of what we say.
They don't want it on there.
They don't want it touching any food that they're going to like. So the separate plate, I think, is genius. It's like you've done this before. It's like you've helped parents do this before. I kind of think they should do
it for adults, too. Tester plates, right? Can I spit this out and everyone's going to be okay?
A napkin for all. Vicki, thank you so much. Great advice. We'll repost this conversation on our website so you can visit it, pre-game around 4 o'clock today.